Once upon a time there was a young musician called Orpheus, who played his lyre so beautifully that even nature was moved. He would sing, and rocks would move, trees would sway, and rivers would run in their opposite directions. One day this young musician was walking in the woods, and between two trees he saw a sight more beautiful than any he had ever seen before. There, in between two trees, there was a young wood nymph named Eurydice. "Whoa! Oh, fancy a bit of that," said Eurydice immediately. Orpheus approached her, and her heart fluttered. "Ooh, I feel all funny," she said. "Nice pics." The couple immediately fell in love and were married. One day, Eurydice was walking in the woods, picking flowers, and the young satyr, Aristaeus, saw her. He was half man and half goat. Honestly, his top half was just like any other man's, only just a little bit hairier, and his bottom half was covered by a forest of hair. He had huge thighs and hooves at the end of his feet. Anyway, as soon as Aristaeus saw her, he fancied her too. "Oh, hello, my pretty. You're a nice bit of stuff, aren't you?" Eurydice was scared. She began to run from him, and as she ran, she stood on a snake which was hidden in the grass. The snake bit her on the ankle and made her swoon. There and then, the young wood nymph Eurydice died peacefully, and the satyr, not knowing what was happening, fawned on her and tried to bring her around. But it was no use. Eurydice was dead. She was taken to the underworld where all the dead people go. She passed Kerberos, the three-headed dog who guards the entrance to the underworld, and arrived at the great hall of Hades, the king of the underworld. "Please, Mr. Hades, don't be nasty to me." "You will never leave here, my dear," said Hades. "Oh no, Mr. Hades, please don't be nasty." "Not blooming likely, darling." Meanwhile, Orpheus was back on Earth and was devastated at the loss of his wife Eurydice. He sang, "Come away, death, come away, death, for she has no breath, and is there with death. Into the underworld she has been cruelly hurled, and to there I must go to save my bow." Now Orpheus was not dead, not yet anyway, and so he could not get into the underworld. He had no coin to pay the ferryman of the river Styx, so instead he wheedled his way in through his singing. "Come away, death, come away, death, for she has no breath, and is there with death. Into the underworld she has been cruelly hurled, and to there I must go to save my bow. Ah, very well then, said the ferryman. Next, Orpheus encountered the huge, three-headed dog, Cerberus, who always says, "Woof, woof, woof." Come away, death, for she has no breath, and is there with death. To the underworld she has been cruelly hurled, and to there I must go to save my bow. Cerberus fell asleep. And so Orpheus got past Cerberus. He approached the halls of Hades, and Hades' wife, Persephone, to ask for his wife back. Why do you feel that you can cheat my husband? She said. My queen of death, I do not, said Orpheus. But I do think that I can give you some great pleasure in return. In what way, she said. And so Orpheus played his lyre and sang to the queen, until finally she could stand it no more. The music made her sway, made her melt inside like she'd never melted before. Her emotions took over her, and she agreed to convince Hades, my husband, King Hades, please, let this man's wife go. Ha! Why should I let one woman go from this place? He said. Everyone comes here eventually. My lord, my king, please, please let her go. I can bear it no more. Ha! Very well then, my little musician, he said. You have won on this occasion. You may have Eurydice back in the upper world. However, there is one condition. You must walk ahead of her, and all the way, never once look back at your wife, until both you and she have stepped out into the light of day. If you look back even once, little chanter, you will lose your wife, this time forever. Orpheus listened, and he agreed to the challenge. No problem, I can do that. All I have to do is not look back, right? And so, she followed him. And as she did, he became more and more worried. I can't hear anything. Why, I don't know if she's there. God, if I get out and I find that the god of death has tricked me, why, I don't know if I could do it. Until finally, he could stand it no more. Eurydice! Dying a second time. Eurydice was swept back into the land of the dead. As Hades had told Orpheus, this time it was forever. Orpheus was distraught. He wouldn't go out, wouldn't see friends, wouldn't eat sleep, wouldn't pray or make sacrifices to the gods. That was the last straw. He wouldn't worship the new god Dionysus. And Dionysus asked his little followers, the Maenad women, to help. My beauties, he said, this man will not worship me. You know what to do. They caught hold of Orpheus and they tore him limb from limb. Off with his head, off with his arms, off with his everything. Legend has it that Orpheus' head still floats down the river Hebrus, singing as it goes, come away, death. It still floats there today and will float forevermore, where Orpheus is sadly still separated from his love, the wife who died twice, the beautiful wood nymph Eurydice.